Without risks, the Bering Sea waits for no one. Storms hit fast and machines fail faster, and in this unforgiving environment, one bad call can end a season or worse. This is the story of a bold move, a redesigned mega dredge, and one of the most profitable cleanouts in recent memory. Shawn Pomrenke had taken a massive risk. He bet big on a newly redesigned dredge known as the Myrtle Iron. Everything depended on whether it could pull in enough gold before the incoming storm forced a shutdown, and for a brief moment everything clicked. The Myrtle Iron hit promising ground. Material flowed fast through its jewel cell boxes, rocks, pebbles, and volume, all pointing to a rich pastry. Confidence surged across the crew. The upgrades were working, and the dream of a massive payout was within reach. But the Bering Sea wasn't done yet. Just as things were beginning to look up, everything changed. With this storm coming in, we got to bring both the Myrtle and the Christine Rose into port, and with the hydraulic pump being down and the bucket stuck to the ground on the Christine Rose, it's a logistical nightmare. A dangerous storm swept in quickly, forcing both the Myrtle Iron and the Christine Rose, Shawn's other key vessel, into a high-pressure scramble. They needed to be brought into port, and fast. While Myrtle Iron was making headway, Christine Rose was falling apart. Its hydraulic pump had failed. Worse still, its massive bucket was jammed on the seafloor, and unless that bucket could be recovered, the vessel was going to be destroyed in the storm. Christine Rose was dead in the water. Its boom arm was submerged and immobile. It couldn't move unless that arm was lifted back onto the deck, a near impossible task in the middle of an incoming storm. So the team turned to Myrtle Iron. With time ticking down and the storm drawing near, Myrtle Iron's excavator was deployed. In one risky maneuver, it lifted the stuck boom arm and swung it into the deck of Christine Rose. Had they failed, Christine Rose could have been lost entirely, but against the odds, they succeeded. The bucket was free. Christine Rose was safe, and the crew breathed a collective sigh of relief. With both vessels safe from the storm, attention turned back to the big question: was the Myrtle's clean out worth it? She's rescued back in Nome. It was time for the first official cleanout since Myrtle's major redesign. Despite limited dig time, hopes were high. The new pastry had looked promising, and now they'd see if all the investment, engineering, and risk had paid off. The weigh-in began. Ounce after ounce, the numbers climbed. The crew watched closely, breath held as the final numbers locked, and the results stunned them. 191.47 ounces of gold. The Myrtle Iron had pulled in more than $380,000 worth of gold in a short run under intense pressure. It was one of the best cleanouts the crew had ever seen in such a short time frame. Shawn and his crew stood in disbelief. The systems had worked. The gold was thick. The performance was exceptional. This wasn't just a good result, it was confirmation that the Myrtle Iron had finally become what Shawn always believed it could be: a beast. For Shawn Pomrenke, this was more than just a payday, it was redemption. The Myrtle Iron had always had potential, but now it was fully realized. With Christine Rose preparing to return to action soon, and Myrtle Iron now running at peak performance, the team had momentum like never before, and they had the gold to prove it. While things were looking up for Shawn, it was a different story over in town. Chris Kelly and his crew were facing a tense moment of their own. They were preparing for a weigh-in, not for competition or glory, but for survival. They needed to convince their claim owner, Dave, that they were worth keeping on. Without a new deal, they'd have nothing left. One by one, each member of the Kelly crew stepped up for their goal to be weighed. The first team member delivered solid results, giving them hope. Music. 3.5, 3.6, he's the winner. Then Chris Kelly weighed his own haul. He came close, but fell short of the first total. The final member, Andy, stepped up. He had one large nugget, just enough to edge past the others. Andy's gold weighed highest, securing a personal win, but the goal wasn't to beat each other, it was to secure their place on the claim. They combined their totals for a full clean-out. The total gold came to 9.12 ohms. Under their 60/40ths split agreement, the claim owner, Dave, got 5.7 ohms, while the Kelly crew took home 3.8 ohms, about $8,000. Dave, who hadn't even left his boat, earned over $11,000 from their hard work. On paper, it was a decent day, but for Chris, it wasn't about numbers, it was about securing their future. He hoped this cleanout would be enough to strike a new deal with Dave. Chris approached Dave, hopeful and ready to negotiate. So, what's the plan after this, do you think? We can make a deal, but Dave had already made up his mind. The plan's over. I got to get all your crap off my boat. It's over just like that, the partnership.